times, and this is my first video regarding gospel. We have heard the word gospel many times in our churches, and we have heard our pastors, our Sunday school teachers teaching about gospel. Okay, but how do we understand the gospel? How does this work in our life? How powerful it is? Okay, let's take up the word gospel itself. The word gospel during the time of Paul was not a religious term. It was a military term. When a battle had been won, the herald would go around the city or go around the town and shout, gospel, 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 or good news, good news, good news. Why good news? Because a battle had been won. So the people would gather in one area and listen to that good news. We too gather in our churches to listen that good news. And what is that good news? Teach to us by our pastors has been teaching to us. Of course, it's the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's the good news of Jesus Christ. His birth, his death, his resurrection, the kingdom of heaven, even the salvation of man. Now, when we say salvation of man, this is a very important part of the gospel as far as our souls are concerned. And we can only experience this God's salvation if we have that understanding on how God saves us. Now, the gospel tells us the specification or the parameters on how God relates to our lives and how God works in our lives. Now, how powerful is the gospel? That's the question. Okay, Paul wrote to the Romans in chapter 1 verse 17. He said, I am not afraid of the gospel, for the gospel is the power of God. So it's not that the gospel has power, but the gospel itself is the power of God. See how powerful it is? It is the power of God to save people. It is the power of God to transform a person from a sinful creation to a sinless creation. So it's really very powerful. Now, let's go deeper. Gospel is the salvation of God in action. So when we say in action, it means it is really working from beginning to end. It does not stop. There is no stopping, no? And yes, we need the gospel in our entry to Christian life. However, it does not end there. It has to be in our lives up to the end. Now, let's go to Romans chapter 1 verse 17. Paul wrote to the Romans, he said, for the gospel reveals how God puts people right with himself. It is through faith from beginning to end. So it's very clear, no? It's very clear. Now, there are three revelations for this afternoon. We have the gospel should be from God, the gospel should be by faith, and the gospel should be from beginning to end. So if we're going to have a recap of our lesson for today, we have learned that the gospel is the power of God, and it should be working in our lives, no? Not only from the beginning, but up to the end of our lives. So it should be from God, and it should be by faith. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have learned something this day, and please help me pray that this lesson will continue. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you next time.